In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to replace the LCD panel in a G2500 model ATM. While these instructions are specific to this model, the procedure is very close to several other models of ATMs that use a similar type of display, like the 1700W, the G1900, or the GT3000. You can also use the fundamentals from this video for most of our other models. Let's get started. For tools, you'll need both a regular Phillips head screwdriver and also a smaller tip Phillips driver. Begin by opening the top of the ATM and sliding out the tray. Turn off the power using the switch on the power supply. Next, remove the screws that allow the front bezel to hinge forward. Behind the LCD panel, remove the screws holding the main board cover in place. Before going any further, consider taking a photo of this section of your ATM, specifically the location of cables, to reference later while reassembling. We're not going to remove the mainboard, however, we will need to disconnect some cables that prevent the mainboard mounting bracket from moving backwards. This includes the USB cable for the camera, if your ATM is equipped with one, the function key cables, which are on the left and right side of the mainboard. These cables have blue, black, green, white, and red wires. Push the ends of these cables through the cutouts in the bracket. Finally, we will need to remove the video connector, which is this white ribbon cable at the bottom. It's important to identify the type of socket used for this cable. If the socket looks like this, which will be on most mainboards, then you remove the cable by carefully pinching the cable and pulling straight down. However, if your video cable socket looks like this, which is found on some of the newer mainboards, you'll need to carefully pry down from the middle of this dark colored plastic strip to unlatch this socket. Be really careful with this as it's easy to break it. Try to use your fingernail or something that won't damage the control board beneath it. Do not use anything metal. With the latch unlocked, remove the cable from the socket. Now, remove the 4 screws that hold the mainboard mounting bracket in place. With these screws removed, you can fold the mainboard bracket backwards towards the printer. If something feels tight or a wire is still connected while moving this bracket, stop and find the cause or which cable is holding it up. With the mounting bracket folded back, you can access the screws that hold the LCD panel in place. There are 3 screws across the top, 3 across the bottom, and 2 in the top corners. Remove the LCD panel assembly from the bezel. Next, remove the clear cover from the front of the LCD panel. There are 4 adhesive strips that hold the clear cover in place. Start at one corner and carefully work your way around the edges to remove the clear cover from the front. Once it's removed, you can place the clear cover back into the LCD bezel. Make sure that the thin rubber gasket in this channel around the screen is in place. Remove these 4 smaller Phillips screws that hold the LCD panel to the mounting bracket. Be careful not to drop these as they're very small. If you're not replacing the video ribbon cable, you'll need to remove the old one. Carefully lift up on this dark colored strip to unlatch the cable. Lift the cable out of the socket and place it in the new LCD panel. Be sure that the latch is up and the cable is straight and all the way against the socket before pressing the latch closed. To install the new screen is just a reverse of the previous steps. Install the new LCD panel into the mounting bracket. Wipe any dust off the front of the glass with a soft cloth. Reinstall the mounting bracket back into the back of the LCD bezel. Don't forget the green and yellow ground cables that install under the mounting screws. Lift up on the mainboard mounting bracket and attach it to the back of the bezel. Make sure the cables you've unplugged are still accessible and won't get pinched as you install the bracket to the bezel. Push the function key cables back through the holes in the mainboard bracket. Once the bracket is in place, reinstall the 4 mounting screws. Be sure to reconnect any ground wires removed while taking off the bracket. Connect the left and right function key cables back into the mainboard. For the LCD cable, it's important that you install the cable straight into the socket. If you go in with one corner first, it can damage the cable and you'll have to replace it. Carefully push the cable back into the socket. For sockets with a latch, insert the cable carefully into the bottom of the socket. Once it's fully seated, press up on the latch to lock it in place. Replace the mainboard cover using the 2 Phillips head screws. You can now return the bezel to the upright position. Reinstall the screws and power on the ATM. If you don't see any video after installing the new screen, first recheck all your connections. Look for any wires that may have been pinched in the brackets. It's also possible that the original LCD panel was not the problem, and rather maybe the mainboard has a problem and it was the cause for no video. If you power on and find that the screen is reversed or upside down, or if the screen is all blue, red, or green, that usually means the ribbon cable has been damaged and it will need to be replaced. I hope this video has been of assistance. If you have any questions, please contact Genmega support.